always online, www.rnrcigars.com, and they'll send them to you for absolutely free. Use that code, The Miller's Edge, 342-9904. You know the area code is 205. If not, there it is, 205-342-9904 if you want to call. Don't forget to download that free app, Tide 100.9. It's absolutely free on your smart device, whether it be phone, Android, or Apple computer, or tablet. It's free. And you can leave your thought, comment, your questions right there. Guys in Tuscaloosa, a big hello to you. Hope you're having a nice Tuesday thus far.
Yes, sir. Same old usual. Got a nice workout in and came here, sanitized the area. I don't know what it is, man, but since people have been getting sick, man, I'm like making sure sanitize and keep cleaning it. Also, Ryan Fowler's, what'd you say, Noah?
It's sickness season.
Yeah, it kind of is. Ryan Fowler, he's very clean and does it as well. So I'm like, I'm just going to adopt his routine and just clean things up. But anyway, that's what we've been up to. But yeah,
Stay away from people. Well, the place that you're going to is the gym. It's not probably the last place you should go if you're talking about getting the flu and getting sick. And diseases and germs. It's that nasty gym you go to because they don't do a good job of cleaning.
Well, I clean. So I wipe down the equipment before I use it and obviously after. So, yeah, no, I mean, look.
Are you wearing your mask?
No, man, I'm not doing all that. Look, that's too much. I'm just saying I'm doing what I need to do to make sure that, that things are, clean and I'm doing my part, washing my hands, stuff like that. I don't know, man. I'm just one of those people, not a fan of being sick. If there's anything that I can do to not get sick, like, washing my hands regularly and whatnot, I just make sure I do that. But anyway.
Well, thank God Noah is behind the glass.
Well, Noah's been, I don't think I've ever seen Noah down, man. Noah's just been solid. I don't think Noah's been, nothing's got Noah yet.
You can count on him. You can count on him.
You can count on Noah Paxton, man. Noah Paxton has been reliable and sturdy. So grateful for that.
Hey, man, real quickly, though, I had a chance to sit back last night, sit in the old recliner, turn the flat screen TV on, and watch some Alabama women's basketball. Trailing Vanderbilt in the second half, and man, what a great comeback win for Alabama Crystal Tide women's basketball team. It just showed a lot of moxie, a lot of just confidence, and really, really balled out. Came back and got a really convincing win against Vanderbilt. I mean, I thought that was great. They had their pink unis on. It was nice. A lot of people, when I tell them that, man, they'd be like, dude, you watching women's basketball? You watching women's sports? A lot of guys think it's weird if you watch women's sports. I happen to like a lot of guys. I mean, it's better, but let's just be honest. Most men,
I don't know, but that's weird.
Most men, and this is a goofball question for you today. Are you feeling more comfortable watching women's sports? Or are you still one of them dudes that says, you know what, man, I can't get this time back? Because that's what a lot of people tell me, because when you say, hey, man, I watch women's basketball or I watch whatever women's that's on TV, basketball is like my number one thing. I can't say I watch like women's soccer. I will watch tennis. I really like women's tennis a lot, especially the pro ranks. I watch it. I don't have a problem with it, but there's a lot of guys that's like, you know what, I can't get this time back. But I enjoyed last night on a Monday night, no football on. So I watched Bama. Now, it might have been hard if it was, LSU or, I don't know, A&M or somebody else maybe, but I enjoyed watching Bama.
Yeah, I don't know who says that. Like, are you not comfortable?
A lot of people
watching?
Say that.
No.
That's my goofball question.
Yeah, no, I'll say this though. I mean, I understand some people might say they don't find it as entertaining, which, I mean, that's all subjective. But I don't know about feeling comfortable. To me, that's crazy. Like, to me, I like watching sports. I've been watching softball as of late. Really enjoyed that. Honestly, might almost enjoy it more than some of our baseball. If I'm being honest with you, I mean, I like them both. But I'm just saying, like, the speed of the game, and obviously we have a very talented program here. Coach Murph does an excellent job. So, I mean, I love watching that. Women's basketball has been fun. I've been to a few games this year. As a matter of fact, this past game was Coach Christy Curry's 500th win, so I thought that's awesome. She's a really good coach as well. So, I don't know. It might be more of an old school thing if people are saying, oh, they're uncomfortable. Like, if you're saying some guys aren't as entertained with some of them, I mean, I've heard that. I can see where some people might try to say that. But if it's something about, you're embarrassed to watch it. That's silly to me, right? I mean, some of those places aren't very cool, man. So
Well, I
no,
promise
I was
you,
like,
most
you
there's
just
a lot of
messed me
guys,
up
they're
there.
honest. Now, I don't know if we have any dudes that'll stand up and just, share their real feelings today on the program. I'd love to hear from you. But because they are the lack of entertainment, yeah. I mean, there's no dunking in basketball. Well, unless you come to South Carolina, and Ashley Watkins, right here from Columbia, South Carolina, she's flushed 2 dunks in her early career here at the University of South Carolina. So I've seen it, but it doesn't happen often. I mean, you probably can't count them on one hand in women's basketball dunks that you have in a year. Right. You're not seeing no high fly acrobatic moves, and you're not seeing all that electricity on the court women's basketball. Something that people used to go say, man, I go see Michael Jordan ball or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant because I know he's going to do something just electric, something just special. Like you just anticipated being able to see something like that. But I don't think you go to a women's game and expect that type of showing. That they're fundamentals. They're going to do things like you're looking for fundamentals, how to play the game. They're going to do all of those things right. The fundamentals are going to be on point. But as far as excitement, I mean, the threes, we look at, they can shoot some threes. They can shoot the heck out of them threes. But when it comes to high flying, I believe I can fly, nah. Major blocks, taking off the top of the backboard, nah.
Right.
You're not seeing all of that. I mean, so if you in it to see that factor in women's basketball, yes, you're going to come away disappointed. But if you're just like the game and knowing that the fundamentals of how to play defense and how to slide your feet and how to do things the right way, yes, it's a great brand of basketball. And I encourage anybody that's not watching it, take some time out and watch it, because I think, man, there's the players, I think, even from the athletic standpoint, they're much better.
Right.
Like the old basketball, I can probably agree. Now, I once was, like the song Amazing Grace, I once was blind. Right? I was blind when it came to women's sports because I thought, bruh, if I wanted to go take a nap, turn it on. If you want to be bored to death, watch it. But I will say right now,
Christ.
I think the athletes in the women's sports are much better. I mean, I think the girls are better athletes. I think they run faster, they jump higher. I mean, it's not the men, but I think they are doing a lot of great things. I'm just being honest. A lot of people won't watch it. Look at the rankings. Look at the ratings last night of Alabama and Vanderbilt. I promise you, there've probably been 38 people watching. I was one of them.
He's just trying to get himself canceled this year. Look, I
appreciate that was a joke, but I'm just saying.
I know, I get that, but I'm just saying. I mean, you must not have seen the conversation with Michael Porter Jr. Did you? Did you see that? He was on the podcast with Ryan Clark and those guys.
No, I don't look at
Okay,
stuff.
well, no, it's funny that you bring this up. You don't look at that stuff. It's a podcast with 3 former NFL players that are very prominent players, and it's arguably the #1 podcast, but you don't. Okay. So what happened was they had him on there, Michael Porter Jr. Are you familiar with him? NBA player?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're talking about women's sports. And I didn't know if you're bringing this up because of that, because this has been a really hot topic. Well, long story short, and I'll have Noah pull it during the break, but he was talking about women's sports and the WNBA and that pay gap. A lot of women advocate for being paid more. And basically he just, he was saying that, they're the best at what they do. They're the best women's basketball players in the world. However, it's almost impossible to pay them, what the men make, because they don't have the same TV ratings. They don't have the same TV deals. They don't have the same viewership and all that stuff. And it got a lot of people fired up just because a lot of people were offended by what he was saying. But what he was, he made a comparison, and I get what he was trying to do, but it probably wasn't the best comparison. He basically said, you can have the best ping pong player in the world or the best paintball player, I think he used, in the world. But because those sports don't have that viewership, unfortunately, it doesn't really matter. The pay isn't going to equal the talent. Does that make sense? And so a lot of people were fired up about it, but you should check it out and we should talk about it, because I feel like a lot of people were kind of misunderstanding where he was coming from, and a lot of people took it as he was being very insulting. He was trying to be complimentary of women's basketball, but just was trying to explain why he does, like why they can't necessarily make the same. And because if we're being honest, and I have to double check my facts, but I don't think the WNBA is very profitable. Now I know they bring in revenue, but in terms of all their expenses and all that good stuff, I don't think it's profitable. If anything, it probably would be in the negatives if I'm not mistaken. And so,
Of course.
but the argument from the women's basketball players, and your girl Asia Wilson was very vocal about this thing. You should probably, I'm telling you dive into it. But they are saying they want equal, basically like revenue share. It's not like a set number. They want equal like parts of the revenue, like the men make. The problem is that NBA is extremely profitable. You know what I mean? And if you're even just trying to scale it, technically they'd probably owe the WNBA money because they probably would be in the negatives. And it's like losing money instead of making money. I still need to read more into it. I just thought it was interesting because when I was listening to what he was saying, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, there's not much revenue for them to dish out because they lose money. But a lot of people were fired up and mad about what he was saying. And I think they were, he used the word female instead of women. I think that triggered some people as well. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting. I thought you might have seen that this past weekend, and that's why you brought this up because that's been like all over social media the past few days.
No, I just was thinking about it because one, Aja Wilson is doing a book tour. She was just on morning news, I think Strahan's show with her new book, and then, I know Dawn Staley, who I know very well, doing stuff with NIL with her basketball team, trying to get things done, is a great proponent of women's basketball and WNBA. But I just pulled this up. According to Bloomberg, the league is set to capitalize on a record-breaking 2022 season with profits in the 2023 season. In between, it's about 180 million and 200 million in combined team and league revenue. That's a combine of everything, up from roughly 102 million back in 2019. So, you know, probably still losing a little bit of money. I mean, they're not getting people out to games. I mean, they got to do things to get people to come out and support them. I mean, and I think the NBA and LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and all these, Kyrie Irvings and the guys are trying to help support them, bring more attention. I thought the NBA is doing a better job of help uplift the WNBA. So they're trying to get more notoriety and probably selling a little bit more commercials, but I don't know if they're making money. I'm gonna look more into it, but I'm just saying, women's sports still have a hard way to go. I mean, so I don't think men is gonna. I mean, let's just be honest. I love watching it, but they're never going to get to the level to where men's sports are. That's not going to happen. I mean, they can try and be loud, but just look at most of these women, college women's basketball. Like we saw LSU with game day, remember South Carolina LSU game last week? Beautiful. We see it all the time here in Columbia, South Carolina at the Colonial Life Arena. We get 18,000, but 98% of college women's basketball stadiums are empty. Nobody's going to the games. So we'll talk more about it. We got people on hold, 205-342-9904. I like this conversation. We can do more than football. We'll get to some of that, though. But, this is a very intriguing conversation. I'd like to hear what you think. Back in a moment.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire.
Jeff. Oh, two Jeff. What's going on, Jeff and Jeff? Joey. What's up, BG? Yeah, did you guys get to see Michael Porter Jr.'s comments? I got this. I'm going to have Noah play the clip when we come back out, but I'm going to play it out loud on my laptop. What's up, G?
I don't know if you guys could hear me listen to that, but we're about to play it again on the show, so you get to hear it again. Just curious kind of what y'all's thoughts were on that, because it honestly had a lot of people talking, but um, and we're gonna get into some Alabama football too. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I think talent like Angel Reese, Kaylin Clark, they'll definitely help. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, last college basketball season was so exciting to watch. Um, and that's why I've been enjoying watching a lot more women's basketball. But in terms of, compensation, man, I mean, just from a business perspective, I mean, you can't pay money that you don't have, right? So I think they just got to continue to be innovative and find more ways to generate more revenue. Um, but I get the women what they're saying. They don't expect NBA salaries. They just want more of a split for um, the revenue. But I just don't think there really is that revenue right now. Here we go. Paxton.
That doesn't mean they're going to get paid the same because
Because they play ping pong.
it's what the people want to watch. You know what I mean? So, as much as I understand females wanting the same treatment as men basketball players, it's a different sport. People, they're not packing out the arenas. Obviously, their TV deals aren't the same. So, as much as I advocate for women and kind of the equality of the respect of their craft and all those things, I mean, you can't pay them the same thing, but I do feel like there should be a little way to make a little bit more money for them. 'Cause
All right, that's Michael Porter on his thoughts, and I know a lot of people took it the wrong way. Matter of fact, the clip that you sent someone on X was just saying that was insulting.
Well, he goes on. Well, I think he was using the word There was two parts of it. They were insulted by him basically saying, it's not as entertaining and comparing. See, I think people take things. I guess they perceived it the wrong way. They thought he was comparing them to like ping pong players and paintball players, whatever it was, which wasn't a great comparison. But he was just saying, like, even if they're on top, like the top of their game, like they're the best of the best, if it doesn't generate the same viewership, the same, attention, it's not selling out arenas, there's just not going to be that revenue to compensate them. That's what he was trying to say. The other part they were insulted by was he was using the word females instead of women, and I think they kind of thought it was like a degrading way of speaking. To me though, I get what he's saying though. I think it makes sense in terms of them just not generating the money like that. The NBA would generate. Now I do think there can be more ways to help try to be innovative and garner some more, attention and revenue somehow. I think it's just going to take time. Like I said, I mean, but before last season, I didn't watch as much women's basketball as I do now. I've been watching it a lot since last season. I was very entertained, with LSU. South Carolina's been good. I watched women's basketball really because of South Carolina women's basketball team. And, now I enjoy going to our games. It's just in terms of trying to compensate them, it's hard when it's not generating that revenue. And I just don't really know how else to go about it, until they find a way to make more money.
Well, here's the bottom line with pro sports and even college sports, right? Why are we talking about these athletes now getting a piece of the pie? Well, because of the television contracts, right? ESPN, Fox, and CBS, and you know now you got online. I mean, everybody's carrying games. They want a part of the athletes. They want to be able to talk to the athletes. They want to be able to showcase the athletes. Therefore, that means dollars. I mean, we look at the SEC, the contract that they have with big time money. The Big Ten, big time money. These schools are getting huge checks at the end of each calendar year, right? One, because stadiums are full. I mean, think about it. Why is the SEC the best brand of football? Because of the stadiums, right?
Fan bases.
The fan bases are crazy. They're rabid. They're crazy. Listen, I'm fighting on the radio. They arguing with me every day to, listen, because they care. They're passionate. Guys like Ellis, buying tickets. They're driving all around to follow their teams, and they're spending the money. They're buying the scripted A. Right? That money means something.
Right.
You don't see this in women's basketball. You don't see a lot of people, they might have an Alabama shirt on, but it's not Alabama women's basketball. You don't see a lot of those been worn around. You don't see signs out about Alabama women's basketball. You don't. They're on TV, but I promise you look in the stands. If it's not South Carolina, if it's not LSU, if it's not Iowa with Caitlin Clark, if it's not those schools or Stanford, they're pretty empty.
Well, if I'm being honest,
I mean, last night games, you could hear a pin drop at the Alabama and Vanderbilt game.
Yeah,
it felt like it was like at church. It was dark. I mean, like.
If I'm being honest with you, yeah, when the games that I've gone to this season, so when they played LSU, that was a record number of attendance. And I mean, it really was like that. The atmosphere felt like one of the men's basketball games that I've been to recently, where, I mean, it's almost packed out, it's loud, there's a lot of energy. But then the other two games, I can't remember who the two opponents were, but they were SEC games. I mean, one of them I got in for free because they really just didn't have hardly many people there. It looked like a scrimmage, and I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm just being honest.
No, it's just been factual.
Yeah, the turnout wasn't really there for the other couple games. So yes, to answer your question, when LSU came to town, it actually was a really nice turnout. But besides that, man, unfortunately, there's just not a bunch of people attending these games. So, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that. So therefore, the money matters, right? So if we flip the script to the WNBA, I mean, look at their stands. It's the same thing. I mean, the Aces, where A'ja Wilson plays, I mean, they get great turnouts. They do a good job of marketing and promotion. But more than 70% of these stadiums are, I mean, let's be honest, they're pathetic. They're not making any money.
Right.
I mean, nobody's going to those games. And I wish they would. I support women's sports. I think they're great. I think it's fun. I mean, I think they have that ability to wow you and get you off of your buttocks and clap and have fun in the arena. But the majority of America is still saying no. So if you're A'ja Wilson, you can't sit here and expect to be paid because there's something called, value.
But a lot of them do have
production.
Did you see the responses? A lot of those WNBA players, I mean, like, all of them were basically going at him and saying how ignorant he was. But I wish maybe since you know some of these women's basketball players, I'd be curious to get them on the show and just kind of ask like their ideas on how to get women paid. You know what I mean? Because I know business. I'm not an expert on women's basketball, but I know business. You can't really pay from what you don't have. I mean, you can pull credit. It's not going to last long. But if you're not generating money, then where do they expect the money to come from? So that's why
I said value producers, value production, because if the league is not making any money, we're the owner. They're just not going to go broke paying you.
Right. Unless they expect the NBA teams to use some of their – because wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a WNBA team for like majority of NBA teams or cities? Like, are they all owned by the same – how does that work,
No, I mean like the Raiders owner owned the Las Vegas Aces.
Right, but is it like that? But I'm saying, does every
But no,
say
it's
like
not like that.
so whoever owns the Detroit Pistons, do they own? Is there a Detroit
No.
women's team? Do they,
No,
okay.
different owners. I mean,
Somebody said it was subsidized by the NBA though.
it might be now. I don't know. I mean, and you only got what, 14, 15 teams? I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen.
Looks like there's about 12.
There's 12 teams?
About 12. 6 in the Eastern, six in the West.
Okay.
That's it?
Right, and they fly
That's what I'm
commercial.
seeing on ESPN's website.
Dang.
I mean, you know how we used to fly on our own private planes and get our own seats and stretch out and you eat your snacks and drink your nice beverage and poop and do whatever you want to do. There ain't nobody sitting next to you in your row.
Right.
Well, the WNBA, they had to go through the terminal. I mean, they be in there with the folk that just flying to go wherever they going.
Well, okay.
They're not put on a tarmac with a bus and getting on a plane and riding out Audi 5000.
Well, I think
that's
alone,
bad.
I think that alone kind of explains like the lack of revenue or profit, because it sounds like they don't really even have the money to travel privately, unless well, no, maybe it's a rule. Maybe it's a rule. I don't know. I don't want to speak on something that I don't know too much about.
They don't, because it's a money thing. I mean, because with all the games that they play, think of all the travel.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on a plane all the time. I mean, these girls are tall too. I mean, do they get first class or? I don't know. I mean, to me, to be playing a pro sport, I mean, even listen, for WNBA, they take a step down going from college. Like South Carolina and the dibs that we got here for our women.
That's because they got the school backing them.
They fly private. They play in the 18,000 seat arena. I mean, Dawn Staley's, they got Olympians, and I mean, they got first. I only see it from that standpoint, first class everything, right? That's why a lot of people were shocked that like Aaliyah Boston, very prominent, first pick of the WNBA draft last year. People were like, she had eligibility left, and I'm like, if I'd have been her agent, I'd have been like, no. What you need to do is stay in school. You eat, sleep for free. You got NIL, you can make some money.
Well, that's why they go overseas. I remember that's why Brittany Griner was overseas when she got caught up in that whole thing in Russia, because supposedly she's making upwards of $1 million, I think, just to play
that's
overseas.
why they do it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, but like Aaliyah Boston don't even make like $100,000, I don't think. I'll Google it at the break. Might make like 78, 90, something like that. Now she got a deal, I don't know those, but they don't make a lot of money. First pick in the WNBA draft. We got some calls, 205-342-9904. Sit tight, we'll come back. We'll hear from you. Don't forget to download free app Tide 100.9. This is the Miller's Edge here on a Talking Tuesday. We'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a...
All right, so I just was reading this real quick, and I think it says, so, because a lot of the women's basketball players that were frustrated with Michael Porter were talking about they don't want, how did they word? They said they don't want equal pay to like NBA players, but they want equal revenue share. And so I was curious to what that looked like. And I guess what they're saying is, so their projected record revenue growth in 2023, I think my dad mentioned that, bringing between 180 to 200 million, up from 102 million in 2019. So I guess what they want is for their pay or compensation to basically correlate with that growth in revenue. But what I'm reading is they'd have to have 20% revenue growth each year for a clause to kick in that would boost their revenue share. So if that's what they're advocating for, I mean, I understand what they're saying, but I do, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like, does revenue, I don't think revenue includes expenses though. Yeah, I don't think revenue unless I'm tripping, I never looked at revenue as including costs or expenses. That's like net profit, right? Yeah, net and gross. Yeah, so I was about to say, I don't know if they're talking about net revenue or net profit, or they're just talking about gross. I don't know. Just thought this stuff was interesting. All right, here you go.
Back. A little Boston 2023 WNBA first pick of the draft. Signed a 3-year deal, accumulating $233,468 with the Indiana Fever, including an annual salary of $77,823 in 2024, then 75 the next year, and then 75 the next year. So that's the number one pick in the WNBA draft last year.
Dang. That was the number one. So wait, you said the 233,000 was her total contract or signing bonus?
3 years. No. Her total contract is $233,468. Okay. I mean, her average is 77,000. So she could have easily made that NIL a lot more with her status.
Well, she still can. That was two things I want to mention real quick. One, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say this while I have it. So I think what they're arguing for, because I understand what Michael Porter Jr. was saying in terms of, if they're not bringing in the money, that it's not realistic to expect the same pay. But so they're arguing for more revenue share instead of equal pay, which I guess that would mean, like you mentioned, they're expected to hit, record revenue, of like 180 to 200 million, up from 102 million in 2019. So maybe they're just thinking that their pay should scale off that revenue. So basically,
they should get more money based on that.
So if the revenue doubles, then maybe their pay should double to correlate or to basically scale with that. However, I think the clause in their CBA basically says it has to grow at least 20% each year for that clause to basically activate, and then they'd only receive 17.5% of that would go towards player compensation. So I think that's more so what they're advocating for. But at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure revenue does not include costs or expenses. Now, if it was like net revenue, but I think just regular revenue does not count costs or expenses. Maybe I'm wrong. I just know typically in business it doesn't. That would be profit or net. That being said, I just think they just number two things, they need to get their CBA cleaned up and kind of be a little bit more player friendly to help them out. Which they signed one in 2020 and it runs through 2027. So they got several years until that ends. And then the other point I was going to make was, I mean, if you look at other sports like Olympic athletes, they don't really make a lot of money from their sport. All their money comes from endorsements. So I think right now the best that they could really work with is try their best to generate as much money as possible. Like you said, Aaliyah Boston can make NIL money in college. Well, she can do that off the court as well. I think their best bet, in which they probably do this, is by endorsement deals, right? Maybe Nike, Adidas, Puma, some of these other brands will step up, kind of help pay them and let them make some more money. Because, right now, that's really about the best they got from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Well, it's getting popular. Women's sports are getting popular, and thank you, Noah, for this. He says that talking about the popularity, maybe becoming more popular. Women's Pro Volleyball League just started or debuted last week. So there you go. I love women's volleyball too. They're very athletic. They be diving out, getting those balls out the dirt, out the sand. So yeah, man. So we'll see. All right, 205-342-9904. Let's go to the phones. Turner in South Carolina. What's going on, brother?
What's up? What's going on, guys? How are y'all?
Doing well, man.
We just switched the gear a little bit today. Just talk about women's sports. I try to give them some love because I want them yelling at me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I watch usually what I watch is women's golf, and I'm with you, Corey. The women's volleyball is great, uh, but it's like you said, it's all about the money. And I'm sure. Take for example, you got Alabama men's basketball coach, you got the women's basketball coach. Whose contract you think pays more?
I would guess the men's.
Nate Oates.
Right. Right, and that's not because she's male and she's female. It's because of the revenue. And Christian, you're right. Revenue is typically your gross revenue is what you bring in as a whole. Your expenses, costs, salaries, and stuff you got to pay and all that. So.
You said it does not include that, right?
Money. Typically, yes. Your gross revenue is like, I work for a manufacturing company. I'm a sales rep. We have gross revenue of this, and then we have gross margin. That's after all your expenses and stuff are taken out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So net gross margin. Anyways, it's all about the money, and then some people just get really upset and they think it's a sexist thing, and it's really not. I mean, look, I'm from women's sports. I reported to a woman at one time who was the best boss I ever had. She taught me a lot. I learned a lot from her. I don't have anything against women, but when you sit there and say that, well, Alabama's women's coach should make as much as the men's coach, that's not really a fair argument just based on their gender, right? So now, I'm sure. What was the lady? I can't think of her name. The legend at Tennessee. I'm sure she made a pretty penny.
Talking about the basketball coach.
Yeah, women's basketball coach.
Yeah. And I'm sure Dawn Staley made. Yeah.
Dawn Staley, I was just looking. She's close to about $3 million. I think Kim Mulkey is the highest paid, and and Gino Umanero, am I saying it right? UConn's coach, but he's won 11 national championship titles. He's probably the highest paid.
Right. So it's all about performance. Like I said, I'm in sales, and we have female sales reps, we have male sales reps, and we have a base salary and we have a quarterly bonus. And if I outperform the female sales rep, and I make my bonuses and she doesn't, she can't sit there and say, well, you got to pay me. It's performance based, right? It's how much money I bring in, pay me a bonus. And vice versa. If she outperforms me and she gets her bonuses, I can't sit there and say, well, it's not fair that you're paying her more money, because that's not right, because that's discrimination because you're paying a female more than a male or whatever. She outperformed me. I mean, that's just bottom line. So it's all about the money, and I hope that women's sports, grows, and I think it is. I mean, it's a lot bigger now than what it was 15 or 20 years ago. So I think it's going to grow, and then, like you said, Christian, these girls and ladies start getting advertising contracts for, apparel, footwear, maybe restaurants or whatever, they'll start making some money on the side with that, kind of like that's the in-out name, image, and likeness kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So I think it'll grow. I just don't think that you can demand it, and I think one of y'all said you can't pay out what's not there, right?
That's what I said.
There, you're not gonna get it.
Here you go. Kim Mulkey of LSU just signed a 10-year deal worth $32 million for LSU, making her the highest paid coach in women's college basketball. That's 3.2 a year, but still, that's guaranteed. Coaches get guaranteed $32 million. She leapfrogged UConn's Gino Auriemma. His average is 2.9, and then South Carolina's Dawn Staley. So the top three coaches right now, women's basketball, 3.2, 2.9, 2.7. I got to think if Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks win this thing this year or get, she might go. I mean, so it is going up. I mean, that's what they got to see. So here, look at this. The average women's salary went from 3.9 to 5.1. 5.1 million, and then it says the average men's salary for us coaches went from 12.2 to, that's talking about all the overall stuff here. But That's I think football is calculated in that some kind of way, but it is growing. I just think you can't demand it. I think you just got to continue. Like you said, you get the NBA behind you. You get everybody's, you get the TV viewership up. And then guess what? When the viewership go up, you ask for more money on your TV deals, and then that means everybody else's salary goes up. That's what you got to do.
That's right. Yep. Yep. But that's it, guys. Great talking to you. I listen to y'all pretty much every day. I enjoy the show, and y'all be good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Turner.
Thank you.
Roll
Be
Tide.
safe out there, brother. That's Turner in South Carolina. Let's see.
Want to hit a quick break real quick? And then
I wanted to read this real quick.
And we'll get Bama Boss Man coming back. I think he might be one of our newer callers. Bama Boss Man.
Justin Jones was just tweeting me something. I was just reading that. All right, we got to hit a quick timeout. We'll go back to the phone. That's good conversation. I mean, sometimes it's good to take a little break from Kayla DeBoer and recruiting, but we're definitely going to get with that in hour number 2. Got a question I'm going to throw out there for you. But we'll get back to phone calls, 205-342-9904. Don't forget, send us a message on that Tide 100.9. Hello, everybody there on YouTube. How y'all doing? Even though I'm not on.
You want to come back? Yeah, what happened, man? You haven't been on. You haven't been on with us in a few days.
Because they was treating me bad on that.
Oh my, no! Don't try to. You were toxic, man. You're toxic.
Man, I'm not everybody else. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
Wow.
Nah, I'm just kidding. My wife lost my cord, and not in my other computer. I'm just kidding. I can't find the right cord to charge it up. So, and it won't work on my iPad or my Google Pad or my iPhone, which is dumb to me. So I think it's something you're doing wrong. All right, hit a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Kobe would have put more eyes on the WNBA. I wouldn't be surprised, man. His daughters are some good basketball players, and he obviously loves the game. And he was working with, matter of fact, he was working with some women's basketball players. I think a couple of these college girls were training with him and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, I think it just boils down to really you just got to find a way to generate more revenue. But yeah, we kind of took a detour a little bit, but it was interesting he brought that up because I had been following that Michael Porter Jr. stuff, and I was like, I see so much outrage, but I'm like, what he was saying makes sense from a business perspective. I think it was just the way he said it, kind of like how I try to tell my dad. There's nothing wrong with like he says, but I'm like, sometimes what you say stuff just sounds negative. Yeah, I think NBA players definitely can help kind of bring more awareness and attention. I don't know how much that will do because I think ultimately, even with the awareness, you just have to have more viewership. You have to. I mean, that's what it boils down to. It's just like NIL. Like, I mean, a guy that has a name and reputation with a lot more eyes on him, like Arch Manning or Bronny James, those are two of the highest paid NIL athletes in the country. And it's not necessarily because of what they've done. They're still early in their college careers, but they garner so much attention, social media and all that good stuff that pays. I mean, there's like scales now that you can look at how much somebody is worth, right? Based on their social media following and all that good stuff, how much engagement they get. So that's kind of really what it boils down to. That was kind of fun to kind of take a detour. But we're going to talk some Alabama football coming up. If you guys haven't already, man, we'd appreciate you like the stream. You guys know the drill. Yeah, I mean, you got to have the advertisers. You got to have the sponsorships. You got to have all that stuff. You got to be able to sell, improve your attendance, sell seats, right? I just think about it, like a team like the Panthers, right? I hate to pick on my team, but our tickets aren't worth anything because the team's not great, right? So we don't sell out, right? We're not going to make nearly as much money as a team like San Francisco or Kansas City. They got a lot more success if they're selling out seats, right? they're going to generate a lot more money. They can charge a lot more for attendance.
Central Time, 1:50 here on the East Coast, Columbia, South Carolina. Corey Miller, Christian Miller, Noah Bellamy. That's
Paxton,
what I'm calling
Paxton.
I know it's Paxton. I'm going with Bellamy because it sounds better. But speaking of names, when you got a name like Bama, Boss Man, you are the boss, and it deserves my attention, and therefore you are up next right here on the Miller's Edge. Welcome in.
Hey, hi guys. How you doing?
Doing well. How are
Doing
you?
well.
All right, I'm old enough to see both of you guys play, and Christian, you're one of my favorite players at Alabama.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But I might get jumped on because I got a bone to pick the quarter.
Oh, please.
Wait a minute. I mean,
please.
did you see me with my leather helmet?
Yeah, I saw both of y'all play. You know, I watched your career too, but Christian was my favorite. But out of the two of y'all,
I mean, I ain't mad.
Okay.
Just keep it in the family. Just keep it in the family.
All right. But now this is my bone.
Okay.
You're a big proponent of Lane Kiffin as a head coach, and you think that he was your first choice for the Bama job. So I heard you say it. You know, you tout his record on how good his record is on this and that, and then you put down DeBoer because he was in Pac-12. But the thing about that is, Lane was in the Pac-12 too. DeBoer won the Pac-12. Lane got fired at the airport. And the thing is, another thing about that, what was the last big win Lane Kiffin got as a head coach? Don't get me wrong, I love him as an offensive coordinator, except for when he did what he did at the championship game in the playoffs with Alabama when they had to run him out of town because instead of coaching his team, he was on the phone getting recruits to come down to this little college he had just got a head coaching job of. And then, and no matter how you said it, Nick fired him. So he actually
he loves Nick.
He loved Nick. Yeah, he actually cost us a championship, in my opinion. But now the thing about that is, but how do you figure that he's so much of a better coach than DeBoer when DeBoer record against quality teams is better than his? And DeBoer won the Pac-12 when he was in the Pac-12, and he played for a national championship while he was in the Pac-12. I like Lane as offensive coordinator, but there was a reason Lane was not in the running for that job, and it wasn't because he was. If he had been the greatest coach, if he had been as good a coach as you, I don't want to get you mad, as you say he is, he would have got that job. But he wasn't. No. I don't really think Lane was even in the running for himself.
He wasn't.
Like
he wasn't. Let me have some pushback real quick. I want to repeat this one more time.
Okay. What was the last big win Lane Kiffin got as a head coach on anybody? Go ahead.
LSU.
And who hasn't beat LSU?
Come on now. I mean, LSU was playing some good football at one point. They won the West last year. They beat Alabama.
They won the West last year. They beat Alabama. They still lost 4 games.
I know. But I'm just saying you can't say they weren't a good program. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
He didn't say that though. He just said it.
No, he did. Bama boss man. Let me just say this. I understand why if you look at the whole dinner, the whole resume, if you will, right, of Lane Kiffin, right? There's reason why you can say what you said and won't be wrong. I'm not gonna hit you with that one, but the man is doing an outstanding job at Ole Miss right now. He's 33-15. He took over a program that was in a little bit of flux. I mean, he's been right there. They won 10, 11 games this year. Nice bowl win. If you want to say good football team, I can just remind you that they did beat a top-ranked Penn State team in the bowl game pretty good. James Franklin.
We all know Penn State is garbage, so go ahead on.
Wait a minute now. You want to give Caleb DeBoer love, but you can't give James Franklin and Penn State as a good football team?
Penn State
They're the third best team in the Big Ten. They're third best team in the Big Ten.
And other than them three teams that you just mentioned as them being the third best, who else is in that conference? How can you not be
Well,
the
I
third
know,
best
just
team? There's
like
nobody else in the
I'm
conference.
glad you said that, Bama Boss Man. Just the same thing I said about the Pac-12. The same thing.
And
Okay. So my point is,
he
Lane
won the
Kiffin been
Pac-12.
coaching 15 years. 15 years, and he's
And
had
what has he got to
success.
show
Now,
for it as a head coach? He got
right,
fired
but
by the
he
Raiders.
has had some.
He got fired at the
He
airport
has had some
when
problems.
he was at USC.
He was immature. He had some problems. We know that. I mean, we know from being in Alabama. You know, we know Lane was going through a marital situation, and he had all those. He had a lot of problems. He made a lot of mistakes. He'll tell you that. But you cannot deny that the man can coach his tail off.
He can coach offense. I can't say he's a great head coach. Cause as a head
He's
coach,
doing pretty good at Ole Miss. And they're going to be a top 2 or 3 team again in the SEC based on the recruiting and the transfer portal that they're doing down there. Much better than Alabama, if we're honest, this year.
That's another thing. You just say recruiting and transfer portal. You can't build a team through transfer portal. That's what all he's doing. He's getting a lot of guys in transfer portal. Ole Miss is not in no kind of running for recruiting classes in the top 10, 20, or 30 in the nation with nobody. You can't build a program off transfer portal because all those guys doing is going for the money and they get out of there as soon as they can. They're not trying to be, and then 1 or 2 years they gone. Now you got to build a team through recruiting. You can add with transfer portal, but you can't build your team through transfer. As Dion,
I agree with that.
That's what he tried.
But your coach Kalen DeBoer is doing that. As a matter of fact, they talk about wait till the spring that they're going to have to do a lot of fill-ins in the transfer portal. Isn't Alabama going to have to be that this year?
That's what you do. You have to fill in with transfer portal players. You don't build your program through that. That's not what he's doing. He's filling the players that left because they were unexpectedly when my man retired. A lot of guys left, so we got a lot of backup players that need to be replaced. Mm-hmm. That's basically what he's trying to do. He's not building his team with transfer portal players. They're out on the road. They're doing their due diligence. They're out there hustling and driving and going flying.
So let me ask you this. Lane Kiffin been doing this 15 years, so longevity means something to me for somebody that's been around the NFL. He's been in several major college programs. He's still here and doing a great job at Ole Miss right now in the best conference in all of college football. So therefore, I give him the edge. I don't care about one Pac-12, what Kalen DeBoer's done right now. He's got to prove to me that he can continue to do it in the best conference in college football, which is the SEC. Am I being fair?
You're being fair, but what has Lane done for the best teams in the SEC as beating them to show you that he's one of the best coaches it is, because he lost against Georgia, he lost against us. He all the top teams that he played, he lose. He's been coaching 15 years, and you can't tell me one. You said LSU. You can't tell me
LSU
one.
and Penn State. He had some good wins.
Me and you both know. Penn State is trash.
Why you hating on Kiffin?
Huh? I'm not hating on Kiffin.
Why you hating on Kiffin?
You were giving them so much love that said, well, no, they should have got Kiffin. They should have got Kiffin. Out of all these coaches, I think Kiffin is
97 wins of Kalen DeBoer's 97 wins of Kalen DeBoer wins came at the NAIA level. Are you giving that a lot of credit?
He beat the same talent that he was playing.
No. Are you giving him a ton of credit for winning at the NAIA level, which is a step above high school?
He was playing against other teams that had the exact same talent level as he had. Lane is playing
that's
against
not true. That ain't always true. No, that's not always true. I coached in that level.
Huh?
That I've coached down there and been a champion, and it's not always true.
You beat who you play. Lane, Lane's biggest claim to fame was on national TV when he said, "Get your popcorn ready," and got drug all over down the field.
All right, listen, Bama Boss Man, I love you, brother, for standing up. But listen, if he's still here doing it, and he's getting good players, and they're winning games, and they was right there with Nick Saban this past season. So I'm just saying, you cannot say the man can't coach.
They weren't nowhere near Alabama. On the field, they got drugged up and down the field again.
That game was close.
Every time they played Georgia, and they got drugged up and down the field again. Those are two best teams they played.
But Georgia's beat everybody pretty much.
They ain't beat Alabama.
They just beat them in the national championship game.
Georgia is 1-5 against Alabama under the Nick Saban era.
I understand that.
As far as national championships go, Georgia's 2 and 42 years. Let's get off this Georgia bandwagon about how great they are.
They've won 2 national championships.
They went undefeated for 2 years. They beat Vanderbilt twice, Kentucky twice, Missouri twice. Look at their record. Look at Kirby's record when he plays another coach of his caliber. Kirby is not an outstanding coach.
Bama, boss man, you just lost every street cred you just
had. I was about to say, I was with you for.
You just lost it all. You were doing good for a moment.
I got to say, I got to disagree with the last part now because Kirby's there's no arguing in what he's done over there just because they've had success. Now I know they've had some cupcake schedules, but just playing under him, he's a heck of a football coach and he's building a pretty dang good program over there. That's the only part where you lost me, but other than that. I'm with you on a lot of the stuff you were saying, though.
All right, Bama Boss, man. Good stuff. We got to hit the top hour break. Come back. More of your phone calls. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
I do want to get to football. Be back in a moment.
Hyundai Tucson wins every time.
There we go. That's what we needed to kickstart this next hour. I wish we had more people like that. If you guys ever want to put my dad in this place with some of that stuff, feel free to call him. He don't listen to me. Except, like I said, at the end, he lost me with the Kirby and Georgia thing. I mean, there's no denying that. I mean, they went back to back. If it weren't for us, they probably, let's just face it, they probably would have had a three-peat if we didn't beat them. Because they were a dang good football team this past year. I know the schedule was weak, but Kirby's definitely got something brewing over there for sure. And then I also got to disagree. I wouldn't call Penn State trash. I think they finished like 13th. But not even just that. I mean, I think they're a solid football team. But other than that, though, he's right, though. I mean, in terms of just the comparison. Now, I'm also at the same time, I'm not going to be one of those people that literally pump sunshine with every single thing. But I'm just the type of person that I'm going to pay respect is due, just like the NAIA thing. Like, does it hold as much significance as if he were to have done that or had that record or produced like that at the Power 5 level or something higher? No, it's not going to hold the same significance. However, I still respect that because, like, Ben Bossman was saying, like, he's got the same players, right? It's not like he's playing with Power 5 talent against these guys. I mean, they've got the same talent level, I'd assume, right? So I'm going to say that's good coaching. Now, I'm not going to sit there, again, hold that to the same standard as if he did in the SEC or even the Pac-12, but that, to me, I think deserves some sort of respect. I think that's pretty obvious. But yeah, Willie, I don't agree about Penn State being trash. Like, I give Lane Kiffin credit. I mean, I think Penn State, beating LSU, those are good wins. But at the same time, I like how he called my dad out in terms of, if you think those are good wins, then how do you beat an Oregon twice and a Texas team? Like, how do you just overlook that? That's my thing with my dad. I think it's like he picks and chooses. I get his point that, he wants to kind of wait and see how this staff does in the SEC. Because I'm going to be honest with you, it's not going to be easy, right? It's going to be their greatest challenge yet, without a doubt. It's not that he doesn't like DeBoer. He's just very like, you got to show me. He's old school. But my thing is, I'm like, that's okay to have that mindset, but at least, give the credit where it's due, right? Like, I think you can hold him to a high standard, but also, give him credit and paying respect to what they have done,
Bama boss, man.
Yeah, because somebody finally They brought it to you. They brought facts to you, other than me.
There wasn't no facts. What facts he bring?
I mean, look, man, look.
There was zero facts in that.
No. Yeah, listen.
Yes, Lane Kiffin has averaged almost 10 wins the last 3 seasons.
No,
you don't call
listen,
a man not
listen.
a good football coach? In the SEC and not no powder puff Pac-12.
Listen,
exactly.
Let me respond. I'll let y'all go at it. Now, that was great. That's what we needed to start this hour. I'm not saying I agree with everything he was saying, right? I think he was a little bit further, down the line than I would be. Actually, I think I know, but I agree with him in terms of if you're going to give Lane that respect for some of those wins and those things, I just don't understand why you can't just do that with Coach DeBoer. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think it's totally fair to question how they're going to do it in this conference,
where it just means more.
He has, and that's
and
great.
He's done it against much harder competition.
Okay, no, and listen. That's another thing I disagree with. I'm not taking anything from Lane. I think he's a phenomenal coach, and he has done a really good job at Ole Miss, right? I mean, he can't really get past us or Georgia, but who else can, right? So other than that, he's been great. So I will say that. But here's another point. I mean, Ole Miss, he had a point with the transfer portal thing. Like their regular recruiting classes, like high school recruiting classes, the year before last, 2023, they were like 23rd or 26th, depending on what you go off of. And then this most recent one, 2024, they were all the way down ranked. Can't even find them. Oh, I guess, no, okay, 21st, I believe. Yeah, they're 21st. So, I mean, he's not like, he's utilizing the portal, getting guys, and you can do that. That's part of college football. I'm just saying, I think sometimes you kind of inflate him a little too much and then knock Coach DeBoer down, right? That's all I'm saying. I understand you being, having that wait and see approach, because I do too. As much as I support Coach DeBoer, I do believe that this is our greatest, I know this is our greatest challenge yet. And I'll be honest with you, the offensive side I think is going to be smooth, but defensively, I mean, you've brought in a bunch of people. There's just a lot of different pieces. I think it's going to take time for people to kind of understand their role, get acclimated, figure things out. I'll be honest. I think it is going to be, a little bit, they're going to go through their growing pains. But however, let's look backwards. I give him more credit than you do. Like, for instance, like the NAIA thing. I just was saying this to the chat during the break. I understand that that's not going to have the same significance as if he were to have done that on the Power 5 level, right? Or if he had that type of record, right, at Fresno State or any of these programs, Sun Belt, whatever conference, all that, right? I get his NAIA, but at the same time, I do give credit there because he had the same talent as the other coaches, as the other teams. So to me, I'm like, that is good talent, right? They had a nice program there. Again, I'm not boosting it in the whole. I'm not pumping it into the whole picture and saying, 100 and this and whatever. I am, separating that and saying, yeah, that was NAIA, so I'm not going to hold it to the same significance. However, I'm going to give them credit for that. And then, even the Pac-12, I know you're saying, it's Pac-12 this, and you're not impressed, but I mean, again, he beat Oregon twice. He beat Texas, a team that beat us. They have some impressive wins, so that's a very fair point for Bama boss man to make. You talk about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Look at their wins and how long he's been there. Well, Kalen DeBoer was at Washington for 2 years, and look at the wins that he was able to come up with. And again, we're talking about with less talent. And just like yesterday, you made the point about Harbaugh. People love him because he can come up with wins with lesser talent, all that good stuff. But I'm like, Kalen DeBoer did that, but even to a greater degree, in my opinion, because he had even lesser talent and did it in 2 years. And I feel like you just kind of, just go right over that. So that's why I'm just kind of like, I'm glad somebody else like Ben Bossman called in and kind of brought it to you, got you to try to explain that. That was good. I like that. Now, he lost me with the Kirby and the Georgia thing because
he fell.
Yeah. He should have left that part out because you can't deny that. You go back to back, and if we didn't beat Georgia, they probably would have had a three-peat, if we're being honest. You can't say Kirby's not a good coach or that's not a good program. I get that.
I mean, it's like running the 400. He started out good, and the monkey jumped on your back, boss. You cramped up on the last straightaway.
Yeah.
Listen, let me just say this, man. Y'all keep saying I'm not giving Kalen DeBoer credit.
Because you
I do
haven't.
give him. I mean, I don't count. I'm not going to use for an argument NAIA. If you're trying to argue me what he did at NIA, you're going to lose me.
But listen, you don't give that any significance. He had the same talent as everybody else.
No, because I know y'all are saying that, but y'all.
Who is y'all? It's just a fact.
You and a lot of the Alabama fan bases are saying all about it. Because have you ever watched the NAIA game? Have you ever seen some of these programs?
I have not, but I know.
Don't tell me that they got the same. No, they don't. That's a lie.
No. Wait. See, you're not even hearing what we're saying. They have the same talent as everybody else that they're facing. I'm not saying they have the same talent as Power 5. I'm saying they have.
No. I know.
Guys
I'm telling you, they don't have the same talent, or they don't have the same. If you go look at some of these fields where some of these schools are forced to practice on and try to do stuff on, try to recruit players, and I'm telling you, they don't. It's not all equal.
So you're saying there's not much parity in NAIA. You're saying it's waivers. I'm not. It's not what I think it is. I'm just saying it can't be too big of a gap. I don't know. I just don't completely disregard it. I feel like you completely disregard it. I give respect to it because I think you still have to coach good football to accomplish that. Just like, let me ask you this. Let me ask you. What about a high school coach? What about a high school coach?
I give no credence to high school.
No. I'm not saying if we're using this high school record, but I'm saying a high school coach that coaches in a I don't know. So what you're saying is, like, let's use Skeeza back home, right? In Skeeza, you're saying you could have a program like Hammond who runs the table. You're not gonna respect that.
I love Eric Kimmer. He's at Baylor right now. Alabama's got a wide receiver that's coming to.
Wait, no, I'm not talking about him personally. I'm just saying, is that what you're trying to compare it to? That all schools aren't even.
I do. That everybody here at Skeeza, if you don't know, in South Columbia, South Carolina, and surrounding areas, is a private schools conference. Well, Hammond, who's won 12 out of the last 13.
Right.
And Eric Kimmer, who's at Baylor, who coached a wide receiver.
So
is the last name Jefferson or whoever coming to Alabama? In Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's where Eric, my good friend Eric, who played at South Carolina and coached there too. Now he went to Baylor. Excuse me. My point is...
Do we need to let you finish your food before you get that?
My point is this. You can have...
Christ.
I'm not eating food. My point is this. You can have one or two players that makes a difference in those conferences and not lose. So when we talk about recruiting, and people say that those private schools recruit certain players and they get them a couple of studs, guess what that team does? Win championships.
I get that. That makes sense. So
okay.
let's just throw that part out of it because I honestly could care less about that part. What about let's just talk about Washington? Because to me that's the most prominent.
For that.
But not really. But do you?
I do. But my point is this: I give him credit, but not to the point to I'm gonna become a chapsticker. I'm not to the point to where I'm going to sit here and just become oblivious to the fact that it's not the SEC. It is the Pac-12. He hadn't recruited here. They got to start over. This is shark waters here in the SEC. And you just don't show up because what you did in the NAIA and all these examples that y'all trying to give me of a coach to show up. You just show up here and you're going to all of a sudden be the guy. Well, I know from history it don't work that way.
I never said it worked that way.
I know. I'm just talking. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you said this.
But I'm giving you the example that you can be supportive and pay respect to what he's done and not think that. I'm telling you right now.
My job ain't to be supportive.
I'm not saying that's your job, but what I'm
saying,
saying,
they ain't paying me no money to be supportive of no coach. My job is to use my expertise and my knowledge of sports and especially the game of football and have an opinion and have an educated opinion. That's what I offer. I'm not on here to be fanboy chapsticker.
Neither am I.
That's what I'm saying.
That
ain't gonna ever happen.
It's like and I don't. That's fine. You don't have to. But what I'm telling you is, you basically what it sounds like is you believe if anybody says, "Oh, he did some good things at Washington," that just means we just think, "Oh, he's going to come here and he's the next Nick Saban."
No, y'all don't. You just don't say it like that. You say it to the point to where
who is you?
I'm just saying in general. It's not personal. When people say just because of this, that, and the third, right? That all of a sudden he's going to come here, which I hope he does, by the way. Let me just preface it by saying that. But I just think it's harder than what y'all are just thinking. Y'all saying he's got an excellent staff. Y'all are saying everything is just, it ain't just good. It's not just we can wait and see. It comes with strong words like excellent, phenomenal.
I agree with what you're saying.
But these are people that are chapsticking people that does media.
See, but boom, that's all right. So your problem is with the chapsticking media.
I expect fans to say that.
Okay, so I think that's the problem. You're too busy trying to prove chapsticking people in the media that like you're coming off a certain way. That's exactly what it is. You're speaking to those people, right?
Loudly.
No, and just like that's what I'm telling you. Just like me, like I don't like seeing that either. Like for instance, like I saw somebody basically say like after I think we just hired another guy from Washington. It was like, oh, this staff is elite. And to me, I think like
that's the word. Elite. So
right,
the staff elite. What makes the staff elite?
I disagree. I would not call the staff elite just yet. I think that's way too soon to say that. Right? To me,
that's my point.
I think we're throwing around words like that too loosely. So I agree with you, but I also still pay respect to the man. That's what I'm saying.
I respect him, and I hope he does well. And I'm gonna be pulling for him.
To me, I think we use that stuff way too loosely. Right? If you're going to say like an elite staff would be like you have top 5. At each coach is top 5 at his position. Like that's elite to me is very rare. Elite to me is like our 2015 coaching staff, or everybody's head coaches now. I don't think it's fair to say like, okay, I get what you're saying.
Nick Saban had elite staff. Those were elite. This staff ain't nowhere near what this staff used to be.
Well, the past couple staffs, I feel like it
the past staff wasn't good. Last year was terrible.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But no, they've dropped.
Not good.
They've dropped off a little bit.
Okay. But elite would have been Kirby, Lanning,
2015.
That are now head coaches. That's elite.
Right.
What makes these guys that he got in here now elite? Please, somebody, for the folks in the back of the church, tell me what makes those folks elite.
We're getting down to the root. So you get triggered by the.
I'm not triggered by it, but fans are saying, it's, listen, dude, my point is, I'm just saying NAIA, don't use that as credibility for this job at Alabama. I don't care. That to me, I'm taking a freaking Sharpie and I'm scratching it out. Good for him, good for that moment in time. But when it comes to comparison to the SEC, to the Alabama football, I am scratching it out. Now, you can tell me the last 2 years that Washington got more credibility than any of those things. Not even the OC of India, but what he did last couple of years and what he did specifically last year, oh yeah, I'm giving him credit for that. He got him to the national championship game. Give him all the credit in the world for that. I'm better you just using that 1 year than tell me all these other wins he had and to say this is why he's the head football. No. We're going to see, because this shark-infested waters here called the SEC, you better be ready to bring your game. All right, we got to hit a break. When we come back, Alabama did hire another coach. And if I told you 33% of your coaching staff was at Indiana football at one time at the same time, would you be excited about that? Love to hear from you. 205-342-9904. It's the Miller's Edge on a Tuesday. Back in a moment.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun.
Let's see what we got. Johnny says, coaching analytics differ from Corey's thoughts. Numbers-wise, this staff blows away Saban's last 3 staffs. Let me ask you, Johnny, so what makes you say that? I'm genuinely curious. Because I don't know how some people are coming up with some of this stuff. Again, I think we have a good staff. Don't get me wrong. But I think we throw around words like elite, and I think that's where my dad kind of comes from when he's going. I get what he's saying. Coaching analytics. What the hell is coaching analytics? Is that what I was describing though? Like being top 5 at every position, right? Let me see what you're talking about. Do you have a link to that? I'm not gonna lie to you, Johnny. I wouldn't buy into too many analytics, but that's fair. Dave Bartu, CFB Analytical. I'm not gonna lie, Johnny. I kind of like going more off of kind of what you produce. At least like in player terms, like a lot of people just look up stats. He comes on Fowler's show. Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny, but normally people that are always on like shows like that are going to be very be a little more biased. Um, where is this? Let me find this list though. Yeah, but that's what I'm asking. Like, where are the numbers? Like, I'm genuinely asking.
On a Talking Tuesday, Corey Miller, Christian Miller, Noah. Again, thoughts and prayers to Toby Keith, who passed away at the early age of 62 from cancer. I did see that early this morning, so I had a chance to meet him down in Nashville with my friend Darius Rucker down there, and took a picture of him, and he made me feel like I was 5'9". He's a big man. He's a big man, but sad to see that he has passed away, succumbed to cancer at the age of 62. To the phones we go. A guy that can calm us all down, give us a sermon. He's not a demon, he's a saint. And his name is Tommy Faramulis. Tommy, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How are y'all today?
Good, Tommy. How
Amazing.
Are you?
Amazing.
Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of concerned about the Indiana thing because I don't remember Indiana going to a major bowl in the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and two, and the defensive guy now is from Washington, and I agree with you. Pac-12 sucks when it comes to defense. But I don't know the way of putting it. I mean, now I'm being the demon, I guess. But
no, you're not. You've been honest. I mean, but that's all I'm saying. Is that I'm looking at this thing. If these guys said, let's say they went to Auburn, to the Booger Eaters, Alabama fans would be roasting the staff. You would have been calling us the Indiana Tigers. If you got your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, and your special teams coordinator is on Auburn staff, just not that long ago, what would you be calling the Auburn staff?
Terrible.
Would you be calling them elite?
Terrible. No.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I might be saying other words besides terrible, suck, pathetic. I mean, no. Well, just like they making a big issue. Well, I'm for giving a guy a chance because sometimes.
Me too.
People come from somewhere like, man, this guy knows his X's, O's, and Jimmy and Joe's, but y'all have thrown new terminologies out in the last week to me. I'm very confused, but we won't discuss that. We already talked about it the last 2 days. Lipstick and chapstick. I don't understand that terminology. I'm confused.
Well, chapsticker means ass kisser. There you go. I think we can say ass. Can we say no? No, can we say ass?
Oh, I have before.
In the appropriate ways, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that was appropriate. Sure, I said it enough though. So there you go. That's what it means. We'll simplify it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you because I've been on Ryan. I call
butt kisser. There we go. We'll call it a butt kisser. We'll play it safe.
Yeah. But it just, wait and see. But like I said, when I heard the guy coming from Washington be defensive line, I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, they don't think, but the offensive part, I don't have a problem because Lane Kiffin came from the Pac-12. And I'm going to be up front. I agree with Chris on this. the last 3 years, assistant coaches hasn't been the best in the world. Bill O'Brien sat on his stuff and watch all the little turfet roll off the edge. I don't know. I mean, after the national championship game, he said, I mean, everybody get on Milrose was saying, well, he didn't help me or motivate. I mean, give me anything. I'm like, well, he's a pro coach, and like the guy we had was a offensive line coach. It was the Carolina Panther or somebody. I can't think of his name. Doug Marone or something like
Doug
that.
Doug Marone, Jacksonville.
I was unimpressed with him because he's a pro coach. I mean, these kids don't know all the techniques. This is a time in high school and college, especially in college, you're going to improve your skills to get you to the next level. And like I said, Little Miss Tuffet, they both settled their duffets. I mean, I don't know the way of putting it. I'm being kind, but they settled the, backside. I mean, the talent is there. They should get coached up, and we haven't had the coaches, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. Haven't brought the egg down. Like you said, Bo Davis. Bo Davis should have that defensive line 10 brick by brick now, So, I mean, it's like what you said.
Well, listen, I've said myself, I was less concerned about Alabama's offense. And that's me giving Kalen DeBoer credit from an offensive mind.
So you're saying you feel they've upgraded on offense from a coaching perspective?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Better than Tommy Reese and what we've seen last year? Absolutely.
I agree.
And I said that. I've said that numerous times. Noah, can you tell them that you've heard me say that I'm not really worried about the offense? I'm worried about the defense. That's what I said.
Very true.
So it ain't that I'm just dissing the man. I am giving him some credit, but still, there's a whole lot of other variables that go into this. I still think recruiting is a problem. I still think it's not going to be as easy as what we're thinking. I still think that, despite what people say, that we got 0 commitments from junior day, that's a concern for me. I don't know about you, Tommy, but those things bother me.
Well, it bothers me too, but when you commit in February before the thing junior, that's 10 months away. How am I going to say that? I just really don't put faith in a 17-year-old because he gets to go to the candy store down the 5 and dime, he get candy, but then he goes to the super candy store and he got 147 choices of licorice, bubble gum, cotton candy, and his eyes as big as saucers, and I'm like, wait a minute, I might need to rethink this a moment. Take the recruiting trip. I mean, it's one in a lifetime thing, so I don't get too wound up in February. It would have been nice, don't get me wrong, but if he got a good commitment last Saturday, it would jumpstart the recruiting. I see your point there. I do. I believe the same thing, but we just got to get through spring practice.
To me,
I think it would have been great to get a recruit. I was just going to say, I think it would have been great to get a recruit. It would have helped some momentum because I believe there's a dead period now, meaning they can't really go out and recruit or talk to guys like they could. I think that's going to last about a month or something like that. Could be wrong. Anyways, something along those lines. But I just think
it's a dead period.
Yeah, it's a dead period. But if we're being realistic, like I told you yesterday, right? A lot of these guys are just now getting to meet Coach DeBoer and his new staff. They still were in the process of assembling new staffs. I know they've been on the road. Some guys probably met him briefly. He probably went to a high school. But again, they haven't really had a time to sit down and really get to know him and build that relationship. So I think it's almost unrealistic to just say, oh, we should have gotten a couple of commits from a big junior day. I still think, in my opinion, and I'm not being a chapsticker, I'm just being realistic, that I don't think you should expect immediate commits. Now, I still think you could have success without seeing commits because from what I've seen, a lot of guys were very pleased with how the visit went, and that's good progress, right? To me, that they're taking steps in the right direction. I'm still not going to be one of these sunshine pumpers and just say like, oh, crushed it this weekend, because again, to me, we're just throwing around words loosely because of what we want it to be or want it to sound like. No, I think we're making positive steps. We're doing the right things, and the results hopefully should come. Like I said yesterday, I think as things develop, it'll give us more to really, not necessarily, I'm not going to say criticize, but more to kind of assess But right now, I still think it's just way too soon. But and I still just I think what it boils down to is people kind of just want things to be what they want it to be, right? Just like we talk about like the coaching staff, like throwing the word elite around. I think that to me is almost just like, again, when I'm on a staff, like I was on a team with head coaches that are, Mel Tucker, Mario Cristobal, Billy Napier, the list goes on, right?
That's elite.
Yeah, to me that's elite, and I know somebody, I think Johnny in the chat here on YouTube was talking about some guy that's like coaching analytics. I know I said I want numbers, but when I mean numbers, I mean like elite would be our defensive coordinator is a top 3, top 5 defensive coordinator, the past several years in college football. Same with the offensive coordinator, special teams guy. He's responsible for special teams units that are, returning punts, blocking kicks, right? Like that is when I started using the word elite.
I don't even think the special teams guy had a good number.
Well,
if you looked at his
the
numbers.
guy that came from Oklahoma, he was like an analyst. I don't know who's going to have what role because I know that William Inge, I think that's his name. The other guy that they brought from Washington was responsible for special teams at Indiana. I don't know if he did it at Washington. All I know is I think it's okay if you kind of question these people that just throwing around, oh, we're killing it here, we're elite here. I think that's fair, but I think it's also fair to say it's too soon to be hypercritical. That's why I always say it seems like I'm boring because I'm in the middle. No, I'm very transparent. I think I'm very understanding of both sides, and there's a lot of factors that go into these things.
No,
real quick, I know you got other people. Can we have recruits on A-Day games?
You could, yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Did I go to A-Day?
No, I thought you said it was the dead period. I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, I don't think
they
can
open
go
back
talk
up before A-Day.
Well, or I was about to say, I think they can come on campus and go to attend the game. Yeah, so A-Day is definitely big for recruiting. So I'd imagine there'll be a lot of recruits there as well.
I'll be here. I'll be your number one. He'd need to recruit me then. What y'all trying to say? Since I'm not a fan.
What do you mean? Wait, you said
I'm just saying, maybe recruit me to make me a believer. Give me the gospel of Caleb.
No, but you're so hard-headed. There ain't really no getting to you. I mean, honestly, just going to wait till September.
Yeah, there's a way to get to me.
No, yeah, I was about to say
win some games, bro.
We're going to wait till September, then maybe you'll see what you know.
Get to me. Guess who I would be? Like Mr. Milroe, when I believe, I believe. Who's shouting Jalen Milroe louder than me when everybody was against me?
But hold on though, hold on. You didn't have that same energy, but you believed in Milroe before he necessarily.
Because I seen it. I seen enough.
You saw it in practice though.
Yeah, but going against SEC players that are better than most teams in the SEC.
I mean, that's fair, I guess.
I seen it.
Yeah,
I sure did. Tommy, you know I seen it. How much was I preaching Jalen Milroe?
You praise him a lot, more than anybody, because you two rep Mr. Joseph. I guess I shouldn't mention his name, but
I forgot about that guy.
Yeah. Oh, he did call. I heard him one day.
Oh, really?
He called Ryan's show after Alabama lost. Imagine that, and said, "I told you, Alabama never win a championship with a running quarterback."
Oh my Lord!
He did. I'm pretty sure I heard that.
I heard the show. Don't get me out. Yeah, I mean, and I'm a boring caller.
For after about 2 or 3 months, nobody heard from him, and then I'm like, "You got to be kidding me! This man just comes out like the grave digger."
I'm gonna get in trouble for what I call them. They troll.
Yeah, they're true. He's funny, man. Listen, but I think when Ryan finally realized this, that sometimes people say things you can hear their heart than just saying stuff, and I heard that a long time ago. Tommy from Romulus, we love you. We appreciate you, man. Bring me some Mississippi mud pie to A-Day.
If I can get my little people from Nashville, make some. I don't know. They coming down. They fussing at me. I don't know why.
Nah, we'll get it dry ice down. We'll take care of it. All right, brother.
Take care.
Have a good one.
All right.
134 on the dial. We'll hit a break. Yeah, Christian, you could have been coached by Indiana Hoosiers.
I mean, look, I'm not going to sit there and make fun of them because
I ain't making fun. That's just.
Well, no,
you got the OC, you got the DC. All you miss is the head coach. Who's the head coach then? Was it Tom?
I don't know. I mean, people got to work their way up somehow. It is kind of interesting that just a few years ago they're in Indiana. Now they're at the mecca of college football, Alabama, but. That shows that they've been, improving and doing some good stuff.
Yeah, they put the work in. All right, we've got to hit a break. We'll come back. How about Nate Oates? I think we got some sign from Nate Oates. He's talking about the matchup tomorrow. They got a big one on the road. Auburn, the Booger Eaters. Can they get revenge against the Tide in men's basketball? We'll discuss in just a moment.
Indiana was a disaster when they got there. It took them to the Big Ten championship game. Did they? They go to the Big Ten championship. I know they had a decent year. I don't know about that though. Let's see. Would it be is it? Well, 2019 was Ohio State and Wisconsin, but it might have been like 2020, I guess, maybe. Nah, I don't know if they went to the Big Ten championship. If your show was around 2015, someone called that staff elite, they would have been called chapstick as well. No one on that staff was a sure thing. I think Kirby. I mean, everybody was high on Kirby. You tripping on that one, dude? He was responsible for. He's a defensive coordinator for multiple national championship teams. So I mean, that's one. I feel like Mario Cristobal was a good coach. I get what you're saying. Nobody would necessarily knew everybody would be head coaches, but still, they were definitely highly regarded coaches. Yeah, no, because I think Mario Cristobal came from being a head coach at FIU.
EC, the Battle of Alabama. The Crimson Tide makes a short trip down to Auburn, Alabama to take on Bruce Pearl and the boys. They came here a few weeks ago and got beat down here at Alabama. And tell you this, things could be different. Matter of fact, I probably would think they might be a little bit different because those boys are really good at the Booger House. So both teams are ranked. So you got the 12-11, wherever you put them coaches or AP poll. That's Auburn, and then Alabama is at 16 behind the Gamecocks at college. Coaches and the AP polls. They will match up on tomorrow. Should be a very interesting basketball game. Matter of fact, Alabama is the last team to beat Auburn at Neville Arena back in February. Isn't that crazy? In 2023, the Tigers are around a 14-game winning streak at home. That's the 11th longest winning streak in Division I. So should be a great game. Alabama are getting some good news. Pringle, who was suspended, will play in this game against Auburn. So that's some good news for the Crimson Tide. That game should be set for 6 o'clock Central Time tip-off and will be on ESPN2. So should be a good game, Christian. I mean, this is a game. If you're going to win the SEC, one thing you got to do is go win on the road. And Alabama is the last team to beat Auburn at home on that long 14-game winning streak. They feel very confident there. The crowd is going to be crazy and noisy. It's a rival game. It's going to be tough for Nate Oates and the boys. But it's a game, if they protect the ball and continue to play defense, that it's similar to what we've seen the last 2 or 3 outings. They'll at least have a chance to try to unseat Auburn at home and break that winning streak.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I know it's not going to be easy, but again, Alabama's been playing some really good basketball. And then just going back to this past weekend, they played Mississippi State. I mean, they've really turned it on. And I remember just a few weeks ago, Coach Oates was questioning this team, just kind of trying to figure out if they had the right mentality, the right intangibles to be a great team. And I think they've responded well. I mean, look at a guy like Grant Nelson, who a lot of people are pretty critical of him, and he has his ebbs and flows, but he's really done some good things. And obviously might not be coming from he scored well against Georgia in that game and had some big shots, but really, man, like against Mississippi State, just some high effort plays, man. A lot of stuff that is really good, taking them a long way. So I'm excited for. I'm definitely going to be tuned in, and I think if they can pull off another big win here at Auburn, obviously they'll help solidify them within the SEC. But the good news is I'm pretty sure they're already a lock for the tournament. So I mean, this basketball team is really starting to heat up at the right time, and and I'm expecting some big things from them. But speaking about Alabama basketball, you know who owes a former Alabama basketball player an apology? That's the Charlotte Hornets fan base, right? I mean, when Brandon Miller got drafted, the reaction was embarrassing on their behalf. I mean, there was people like in their little celebration in their arena. Like some people were booing. The freaking mascot was like putting his hands on his head. I think they wanted Scoot Henderson. And I just remember watching that reaction. We talked about it on the show. I'm like what is wrong with these people? I'm like, they're getting a phenomenal kid. I know there's the off-court stuff that they might not necessarily have had all the information on, and people were running with stuff. But I'm like, I don't think they realize how great of a basketball player they just got out of Brandon Miller. And even a great kid, man. Again, I know that whole situation, but if you really dive into it, you'll kind of, be able to kind of understand really kind of the facts. But with all that being said, man, Brandon Miller has been lighting it up. And just as recent as yesterday I think he dropped a career high, season high, like 35 points 2 games ago. But then, playing against the Lakers, he just another, huge performance. I love watching him play. He's a dog. I mean, yesterday they came up short. They lost to the Lakers 124-118. But Brandon Miller definitely had another big time performance. I'm just happy to see him doing his thing at such a high level so early on. And I just think the Charlotte fans honestly owe him a major apology because they did not show him the proper respect when they drafted him. But I don't know if you've been watching much of the Hornets, but
well, I've seen the highlights.
But he's balling though.
Nothing. I think he's definitely getting in his groove. I mean, again, when you get to this point in the season, it's like any professional sport. You're not a rookie anymore, right? You become kind of a veteran because you adjusted. You're used to the speed of the game, used to traveling and your time frame and because all that stuff matters. But I think you become comfortable and you grow up. And I think that's what we're seeing with Brandon Miller. He's growing up. We know the skill set in which he possessed. I mean, that stretch, he can handle the ball. He can shoot the three. He can finish at the rim, dribble drive. He can do different things. He's long. He's got that wingspan. Very good athlete. So, when you got a guy that, especially in the NBA, when you play a lot of one-on-one, you can definitely, as a coach, create matchup problems and things and such like that. And I think he's done an outstanding job for the Hornets. And I think wasn't Anthony out for a while? The Hornets' best player. I think he's back now. But is it Anthony or what? Not
LaMelo?
Anthony, no. Excuse me. What's Ball?
Yeah, LaMelo Ball. But you're thinking of Carmelo Anthony, but no, LaMelo Ball.
Yeah,
but
LaMelo Ball, yeah.
I will say Brandon Miller last 3 games, 28 points, 35 and 33, and LeBron had high praise LeBron had high praise for Brandon Miller. He said, "I love what I see from him." So I mean, he's definitely putting the NBA on notice. But I think us Alabama fans got to watch him here. I mean, saw how talented he was. Well, I don't think we're shocked at what he's doing, but I think that tandem between him and LaMelo, man, I think the future is bright for Charlotte. We'll see, moving forward. But hopefully we can get our other Alabama guy in Charlotte some love and some help. And that's Bryce Young.
It's the Hornets. You don't hold your expectations too high.
I know, but I'm just saying that's 2 very talented young players in that organization. If they can keep building, they might be brewing something special. But I'm telling you, the guy who really needs some love and support is Bryce Young. I hope this new coach that they hired, Canales or however you say his name, or I think Tampa Bay's offense coordinator.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's the right guy for the job and can help Bryce out because it was tough watching Bryce just get annihilated. And people just teeing off on him, no help. I mean, it was bad, man. But
yeah, I mean, David Tepper's not well liked here in the Carolinas right now, and you look at what the Panthers has done. I mean, all the coaching changes. I mean, you had Ron Rivera who drafted you. Then what was just a dumb decision by firing him at that time and bringing in the college coach. Now he's gone. I mean, we knew that wasn't going to work. I mean, now he's back at the same juncture again. I mean, that's just tough for any organization. But you got an offensive coach that's done well of, coordinating the last couple of years at Tampa Bay, and I think it's at Seattle even before that. Quarterbacks has done well in the system. So I think Bryce will benefit from doing that. He's a smart guy. He's going to take advantage of this offseason, spend a lot of time in the film room with his coach and learning the system and that. He's a winner. He understands what it takes to be great. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that he'll put in the work that he needs to do to be better. So we'll see. It is the Panthers. It is the Hornets. I mean, they're right up the road from where I'm at. I think they're great sport towns. I think they both get great support. But at the same time, you just come to not expect winning at a high clip. I mean,
yeah, it is kind of embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I hate to say it, you just don't expect much right now from either of the pro teams in Charlotte. But hopefully we turn that around soon again. I got hope that Bryce Young can get some help and they can start making some progress. Defense hadn't really been an issue too much for the Panthers, but offense, man, has just been a struggle. But I'm not gonna lie to you. As much as I love Bryce Young, I'm watching C.J. Stroud, man. I'm like, this dude is playing some good football. And I know he has more weapons. He's in a better situation.
You're saying that they made the wrong pick.
I'm not saying they made the wrong pick, but I'm just saying, man.
You're not saying it, but you're really saying it.
No. What I'm thinking is, I hope that they can help Bryce out soon, because if he doesn't have a better year this upcoming year, it's going to start looking like that. I'm just being honest. I mean, I think anybody
they're going to start using the B word.
No, I don't think they'll call him a bust. I mean, I think it. I mean, I'd hope they wouldn't, because everybody here at Alabama, they talk about him as if he's the greatest quarterback they've ever seen. I'm not kidding. Like that's how highly people think of Bryce Young. I just think he needs to be in a better situation. That's all it is. But I do know how the NFL works. And you generally only have 2 or 3 years. They don't really care about the situation. Like not many people really care. Oh, well, he was on this. Not many people take that into consideration. So hopefully they help him out, man, because you know people are going to start. If he doesn't produce, you and I both know how this works. If he doesn't produce this next year, people might start trying to throw around that word, even though I think it's still way too soon, but they do that. Real quick, before we go to break, I want to remind you about our friends at Off-Road Performance Direct right here in Northport, Alabama, 4751 Lake Sherwood Lane. Again, if you're in any type of need of a lift kit, wheels and tires for your trucks, SUVs, you got a Jeep, you want light bars, all that good stuff installed, contact my friend Michael at Off-Road Performance Direct. Again, that's 205-310-1823. They'll take great care of you. They've got all the rims, tires, all that good stuff that you can think of to get your ride looking exactly the way you want it. Get it suited to go off-road, hunting trips, all that good stuff. So contact Off-Road Performance Direct. Again, that's 205-310-1823.
I see our Auburn friend made it back in here today. I thought he was being cool. I thought he was being cool yesterday. He was paying respects or something. Adam, what's up, man? Adam with the goodness, man. Adam with the $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Adam. Hope all's been well, man. I'll make sure we get to your super chat when we come back. Given that we have a lot of inexperienced players on defense this year, what defensive scheme do you think should be adopted to bring out the skills in our players? It's a good question. Yeah, I'll read that on there, and we can talk about that in our last segment. Yeah, man, all is well, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate all your support, man. I just can't believe this Auburn guy loves coming in here now. Y'all let me know, chat. Should we kick him out, or y'all good with it? I don't really care. I think it's funny, but you guys let me know. Somebody said kick him out. Somebody said keep him.
I'll admit it.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge right here on Tide 100.9, 12:30 a.m. WTBC. We are the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Remember, this show is presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. If you're in any type of pain, foot pain, knee pain, or back pain, head on over to the Good Feet Store. They'll take great care of you. Those premium arch sports that are designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain will help you out tremendously. So don't forget about the Good Feet Store. Give them a shot. It's try before you buy, folks. You've got nothing to lose, I promise. You will not be disappointed. If you're in Tuscaloosa, head on over to Midtown Village or go to goodfeet.com to schedule an appointment and find the nearest location to you. Again, that's Good Feet, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Our guy, Adam Lamparello, is in our YouTube chat, and he's got a massive super chat. So thank you so much, Adam, for the super chat. We always appreciate you guys' support. And Adam's question is, given that we have a lot of inexperienced players on defense this year, what defensive scheme do you think should be adopted to bring out the skills in our players? So really good question from Adam there, because that is something you kind of want to consider, we heard Coach DeBoer talking about, adapting his scheme or his philosophies to their talent, right? And I think that's what a lot of good coaches do. That brings out the best in their players. We saw Tommy Rees kind of develop that mindset midway through the year with Jalen Milroe. He adapted to Jalen Milroe's skill sets, and we saw a lot more production and effectiveness in our offense. That being said, defensively, when you think about it, you can try to call things to kind of help younger guys out, not put so much pressure on them or put them in situations where they have so much responsibility. Somebody said, shout out to Adam. You're the man. Yeah, Adam is the man. So, Adam, to answer your question, first, so Kane Womack, and I've talked about it before, but just a refresher, or if someone's just now tuning in. So his scheme is a spot drop type of scheme, zone-based, like true zone type scheme that is very cover three reliant. They play a lot of cover three, right? A lot of single high safety. And so, it's a personnel-wise, it's a 4-2-5. Well, the thing with that is the 4-2-5, that's not the thing. But the biggest difference is Coach Saban was always more so a cover two shell, right? Pattern match. This is like completely different. This is single high safeties, cover three. You're expecting the corners have a lot of responsibility, right? They've got like those islands they're responsible for. You've got that one high safety. So to answer your question, man, I don't know if you can change it up too much because that's this guy's defense that he's always running. He calls it a swarm defense, Adam. So I don't know how much he'll change it. But he's got to know that he's going to have some corners that he can rely on. There's going to be a lot of stress on those corners, a lot of stress on that free safety back there. And so it's hard to say to answer your question, really. But if it was me, I personally, I'm way more of an advocate for a too high shell, right? I like pattern matching just because I feel like you're just vulnerable to get picked apart when you're just spot dropping. I get that you're reading the quarterback's vision and you're trying to, mesh and gel to different routes. But to me, I'm a very strong proponent of the pattern match defense that we ran. And I like split safety shells or too high shells. I just think you're protected over the top a lot better. And in my opinion, people are going to have pros and cons of each. Do you have a preference for what you prefer? People know this. I love our split safety. I love our too high shell. I love pattern match. I love everything about Coach Saban's defense. I'm going to be biased, but let me ask you: do you have a preference?
I didn't like Coach Saban's defense.
You are tripping.
I didn't, and I told you this before because when you're talking about pattern matching, and a lot of people don't understand, we also we play zone, but that zone can turn into man. Right, especially in the red zone, that's basically what that means. If you're playing zone, let's say you're playing cover 4, cover 2, well, underneath at least, the coverage turns into man based on what they're doing from a route standpoint.
Right.
But I don't like it from the standpoint of all the mistakes. I thought, and I'll say it, and I'll keep preaching it from the mountaintop, that Coach Saban's defense became too complicated for these younger, and Adam talking about young kids, they could not understand, and therefore they made mistakes, and therefore they played slower. They were a foot behind. They were chasing because they didn't have an idea of what they were supposed to be doing. Therefore, I did not like the defense. I think it's when you talk about spot dropping, basically when if it's zone, we're playing zone. right? If I know I'm a Sam linebacker, outside linebacker, and I'm buzzing to the flat, that's where I'm going. And whoever shows up in the flat, whether it be the fullback, tight end, or receiver, that's who I got. If I'm a hook dropper and I'm playing inside linebacker, I know I'm dropping 8 to 10 yards in that hook curl area, and then people that invade that area, that's who I got. I don't have to think. I have to see pass. I recognize pass. I get my tail back into my drop. I got my head on the swivel. I'm looking around, and whoever penetrates that area, I blow up. That to me is simple. That to me allows you to play faster. So I don't know much about Coach Womack and his defense, the 4-2-5, but I do. If I'm going to play zone, I'm going to like zone. Unless I simplify the pattern match, which I've always said, in the red zone. Let's play cover 4 man. And we do what teams and offenses like to do today in college football, NFL football. What do? They play bunch. They switch, they motion, they create bunches, they try to pick you, which is a big. Alabama lost the national championship game because of Hunter Renfrow picking Tony Brown, and they lost the game. Well, guess what? If you didn't have pattern match there or had pattern match rules, which means, hey, if they motion to or line up in bunch, guess what? We automatically check zone. If you're the widest guy, you're a curl flat guy. You got the widest of the widest. If you're number 2, you're the inside guy, you got that area. If you're number 3 and you further inside, you let that guy just come to you. You know what that does? It simplifies. Nobody's getting picked.
We had
Nobody's,
that,
huh?
We did that. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. We did that. Yes,
that's why
we
they
go
got
to zone.
They didn't do it because
bunches.
they got picked. Because Tony Brown was trying to chase Hunter. Why was Tony Brown chasing Hunter Renfrow? That means he was chasing. When you're spotting, when you check zone, you're not chasing. You are defending an area.
We did bingo check, and that means, like, for instance, I'd beat up the point guy and I'd go first to flat. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
They got to get some smarter players.
We did that. You think it's smart and it's successful as Coach Saban has been. You think he would just not understand that? Come on, man.
All I can tell you, well, it's not smart that you don't change because you got several games, including the Rose Bowl, where your guy screwed up and it cost you the game.
That was a freshman that just didn't take his assignment.
That's what I'm saying. So don't tell me I'm wrong.
That's on the players, not the scheme. We got to get out of here. Appreciate everybody listening on the Miller's Edge right here on YouTube, on Tide 100.9, the app, all that good stuff. We got to get out of here. Make room for Ryan Fowler. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, this has been the Miller's Edge right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.